Hey, this is Stacia, and we're going to take a look at my round two game that I played at the Parma Chess Club this past Tuesday on August 3rd. That was 2021, as you might have guessed. So, this game I faced Mark Parvin. So, after getting a draw against a 1900, I was feeling pretty good and ready to take on Mark Parvin, who is actually probably stronger than 1700. He's been on a bad streak as of late, but I think he's rated about 1760 at the moment. So I went 1e4, he went e5, and I went knight to f3. Now I've faced Mark once before, and I had the black pieces. I'm not sure if I put that game on my channel or not, but it was an interesting game. And okay, he played d5 here, which it is funny that the computer says question mark. This is the Elephant Gambit. Yeah, it's the Elephant Gambit. And well, I mean, just to talk about this for a second, it's a weird move, you know? We put the knight on f3 and we attack the black pawn, which is undefended. And that is why, you know, black usually plays knight c6. It develops a knight and guards the pawn. Now, black could also defend it other ways like this. They can defend, that's the Philidor, and they can counterattack our pawn like this, and that's the Petrov. So it's really unusual for them to play this move, d5. But it's also sort of a counterattacking move. They're attacking our pawn on e4. I guess the difference is we could take this pawn, and now this pawn is still under attack. And that's why the main move now in the Elephant Gambit, I mean, knight c6 is not available. That's why they play e4. And I think the main point is that they're disrupting, you know, the white setup. So this knight cannot stay on f3 now, and this pawn is hard to recapture, etc. Like, I think if we go knight g5, for example, well, that just loses the knight. This is not open yet. Yeah, we can't really boomerang and attack the pawn or anything. We just have to go like, well, the best move is queen e2, pinning the pawn. Yeah, and then I guess this is sort of the main line. Like this, d3, we attack the pin pawn. They finally take this, defending it, and then we go here, attacking the pawn again. Yeah, and notice we don't go knight to c3, which is still a good move, but the reason we don't is because now black can pin the knight and take it next, and this queen will actually stay in the center defending the pawn. So I think that is the reason we go here, and now if they try to pin, we play c3. We're not pinned, and the pawn. Yeah, white's a lot better here, but that's because bishop b4 is silly. So anyway, that's the main line of the Elephant Gambit. Now I played a different way. I say, hey, you did not defend your pawn, so I'll take it. I do the same thing in the Petrov, most people do. Okay. So he played bishop to d6, attacking that knight. So I defended with d4, and I like my pawns. I guess the only problem is that this is hanging, so he did take it. So there's still this annoying pawn on e4. And now I played the move knight to c3. And this is my first move on my own. So, you know, these openings, these weird openings, like the Elephant Gambit, they are good for surprise value, and they are good for thrusting your opponent into an opening they won't know as well as you. And I think that's what Mark was going for. He plays the Elephant Gambit like every game, and he gets pretty good results with it, which is surprising, but it must be for that reason. People don't play it right, he gets a good position, he wins. Or they do what I did this game. They spend 10 or 15 minutes in the opening, when normally I just play 10 or 12 moves of theory and then you know, I still have 27 minutes or something. So this game, you know, my time management was just awful. Just awful. Okay, but, oh, and really quickly, let's look at what the actual correct moves are. Knight c4 is the main line, but it gives up like all advantage, according to the engine. So I'm not sure about that move. I think a better move here is probably bishop c4. So I might play this line if I see the elephant gambit again. So we're attacking f7. And so what black will normally do is take the knight. Now we're not attacking f7. And then if we do take back, we actually get this endgame, or middle game, whatever you want to call it. And this is not so good for white because we had to spend a tempo moving our king and we can't castle anymore. And you know, if black develops quickly, castle's queenside, we're going to get hit by a rook, and it's a slightly worse ending for white. So I think this is what black wants. But bishop c4 is good because when they take the knight, we can play this move, queen h5. Yeah, and you can tell I was looking at this earlier. Now we're attacking f7 and the bishop. So that's a double attack. Now the only way I really see to defend is with the queen. So queen e7 is the main move. Yeah, I'm curious about queen f6. This also defends both, does it not? I guess it might be sort of the same thing, because now I take with check. So they probably should take. Yeah, and if queen e7, it's the same thing. It's like, oops. Queen e7, we take the bishop. Okay, and it's the same thing. So we got to recapture the bishop, which is what we wanted to do. And now, this time there's no queen takes d1 and king, you know, this is a better version of that ending. And the computer gives it plus 0.7 for white. Now, I think I should study the actual ending before I play it too, because there's probably some nuances here. But I enjoy games like this, so I think this would be fine. Okay, so instead of bishop to c4, I went knight to c3. Yeah, and I was thinking about that ending, and I was just simply defending my queen. Also, I'm attacking the pawn. So I kind of expected him to go, you know, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and I was going to go knight takes d1 there. And when I analyzed that ending with Michael Jolson, he said that, you know, that just gives up all advantage. What am I doing? It's pretty hard on me at times. But, you know, it does say that the engine says it's still slightly better for white. Maybe it's because of two bishops. Because, like, if this were to happen, you know, that attacks the pawn. I could attack their pawn. They could defend it. Yeah, I don't know. The computer says this is slightly better for white. I mean, it does feel like white is behind on development, though, compared to black. And it also feels like, well, we have two bishops. That must be the reason. It's a fairly open game. We have two bishops. Maybe that is a slight advantage. But I like this other line better with the queen h5. So anyway. So next time I'll do that. But knight c3. And he decided to simply defend the pawn. So I pinned the knight. Yeah, I was starting to like my position here. So he guarded the pawn because I pinned the defender of the pawn. And now bishop to c4. I liked this move because I'm kind of forcing him to commit his king to the king side. And now I have to tell you, I was playing this opening very slow, taking a lot of time, which is not smart. And I played h4 here with a brilliant idea that doesn't work. So that's like the bane of my existence. So I spent a lot of time looking at the idea of g4 and trying to trap this bishop. And what I determined is that he could go to g6. So h4 actually prepares g4 was my idea. Now, sadly for me, my idea doesn't even work. And I realized that while I was waiting for him to make this move. He played c6. I guess he should go knight c6, and that's a really good move, and I have no idea why. Oh, well, tax the knight again. Tax the pawn. I don't know what else. Looks very natural to play that. Does allow that, though. I guess the computer is not afraid of this at all. Says black's a little better now. Pretty interesting. But anyway, I wanted to play g4 because, you know, now if this, I do trap the knight, or the bishop rather, and this is winning. But what I realized is that if I try to play g4 now, because this is protected by my knight, which is nice, and this is pinned, I think black can just throw in this move. You know, like bishop takes knight, and it's an intermezzo. And now my g-pawn is kind of hanging because, well, if I take back this way, they can trade queens. Yeah, I saw this. And now they can take the g-pawn. It's no longer defended. That knight was doing that for me, so yeah, so just take the knight, trade queens, and take the g-pawn. So I can't play g4. Well, and I'm glad I saw that, but I spent a lot of time analyzing this, like probably like a third of my time for the whole game I spent looking at something that doesn't work. So, you know, my time management is very suspicious. But anyway, let's look at the game. Yeah, so I kind of was panicky now. I was like, oh no, I'm way down on time. I should just play fast. So I just played this move. I don't even like it. h6, bishop e3. Computer thinks I should trade off the bishop. I'm not exactly sure why. It also likes bishop f4 better. But that's kind of scary, you know, then my knight is pinned. Unless I can go knight g6. So maybe that's why the computer's okay with that, but yeah, this is the other move. But I thought queen takes f6. I mean, I think black's fine. I guess the computer says white has an edge, but okay. Okay, but I went here. Now I probably, just quickly, instead of h4, what I really should have did was queen e2. You know, that puts pressure on the pawn. I'm prepared to castle either way, whatever I want to do, and I haven't committed this pawn yet. So I think that was the right way forward. But the way the game went, queen c7. Computer doesn't like that move either. It says he should go knight bd7, which makes sense. I think the computer just wants to attack this knight immediately and develop the last piece. But this also attacks it. Yeah, and this was a tough moment because what do I do here? I would prefer to move the knight. but there are no squares for the knight. So I thought I should defend it. So I played f4, which computer doesn't like. It says the best move is f3. Okay, what if they take? If they take, we take back. That's attacking the knight, so that's with tempo. Now they can take here. But then we go bishop d4. Yeah, and that's the only move that gives an advantage. So this is the idea of this line with f3. And then he could go queen e7. And then we take the pawn. Okay, but that's a trade. Oh, maybe if they take, we're going to pin. Is that the idea? Like, let's say knight takes. Oh, here's the other idea. Look, that bishop's hanging. So if they're going to take, they should do it this way. Wow, and now we take like this. And we deflect the queen. Queen can't even take. Look at that. So they have to take with a pawn. But they could throw in queen c5 check. Okay, this is getting complicated. My bishop's hanging. Wow. But I can block this way. Then they take. Now I take the bishop. Wow. Chess is hard. I didn't see any of that. Wow. I would never think to play f3 with all those tactics involved down the line. I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily predict queen e7, but okay. f4 seems more natural, but it's not correct. f3 is the only good move there. All right, and then he went here. Yeah, what to do? It was hard for me to find a plan in this position. So the computer does want g4, which is funny, because I wanted to play this move. I guess it is best now. I have no idea why. I mean, let's say they do the same thing and take my knight. This time I should take with the f pawn. Now, can't they take on g4? Now queen e2. Now the bishop is hanging. I don't understand chess at all. It says knight b6. Okay. So I take here. They take on e3. Ah. Now I'm not defending that bishop. And they attack the knight, or attack the queen rather, and b2. This is complicated stuff. So I can take this pawn. But now they go knight takes b2 is possible, but queen d7 is best. That puts pressure on my rook. Puts pressure here. They're still threatening knight takes b2. My king is ridiculous. Where'd all the pawns go? All right. Yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah, I'm not playing that way. I'm not playing g4. That's ridiculous. Okay. I did this instead. This is more normal looking, but I guess, again, not correct. I'm not sure where the knight belongs, to be honest. I was kind of hoping to go to g3, attack that, and put pressure on the pawn. And unblock my c-pawn. So he hopped a knight in. Peter doesn't like this move. So it wants me to take the knight, which is what Michael Jolson thought I should do too. But I was worried about this position. I mean, black has the open c-file. Black has this nice center now with a passed e-pawn. I mean, there's no doubt I'm worse. So I didn't want to do that. So I went here. b5. Why is bishop b3 wrong? Again, I should take the knight. Okay. Yeah, and now this. Okay, so now things get a little interesting because he just opened up this diagonal, which pinned his knight. And so moves definitely come to mind. Like, if I could only play knight takes or bishop takes b5, which I can't, then that pawn would be overworked and I could take the knight with check. That would be cool. But I don't have a way to do that. But I thought c4 was interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I can play c4 right away, though. So I actually took first. Then played here, attacking that bishop. He went king h8, getting out of the pin. And now I played c4. Yeah, the engine just doesn't like it, though. You know, perhaps one reason why this might be the case is that black has two bishops right now, and pawn breaks open the position. So I'm kind of helping his bishops. But then again, I have two bishops as well. And we both might not have two bishops any second. So never mind. I don't think that's that big of a deal, but I just have a bad position, let's be honest. I did this because I thought maybe I could make use of an open C file. But then he played here, activating his rook. Yeah, and this is tough. How do I defend my B pawn? B3 looks very natural, but it weakens squares. So it's a very weakening move. So I didn't really want to play it. But if I don't play that, I'm not sure what I play. Computer says take everything off. Take here. Then take here. And then play queen e2. Queen e2. I guess stepping out of that move. So I guess here I'm still worse though. So if that's the best I have, I don't have much. So I played b3. You know, in hindsight, I think I should have went bishop b3. Computer hates this too, but I think it's better than b3 because now bishop g4. And not only that, but you know, now the knight and bishop are coordinating on my position. And this is starting to get uncomfortable. So queen f2. And I did not see this move at all. This is a pretty good move. Bishop c3. I mean, his point is not just to attack the rook. That does mean it comes with tempo. I think his point is to attack this pawn. So I'm going to move my rook. And then if I take that, yeah, I'm going to move my rook. Then he can take here. I have to take back. And then when he takes here, that pins my queen to my king. So I'm sure he had that in mind when he played bishop c3. He probably saw it in advance even. But I thought that was a pretty cute thing. So it turns out, I mean, I don't know what I should do. Computer says this is a blunder. I have to take the knight to stop this idea. Yeah, but I didn't see the idea yet. I went here first, then I saw it. So once he took, I was like, okay. I didn't fall into that though. What happened is he took here and I was like, oh, I can't take that. So I took this instead. But, you know, of course, that's an exchange. So we ended up with this, and I'm just much worse now. I'm down in exchange. My pawns are horrible. This pawn is passed and probably strong at this point. So I'll just show you how he finished me off because it was pretty nice. Yeah, I could not stop this at all. I mean, that's kind of a skewer on the D1 square. And now I saw queen h4 coming for a long time, but there's nothing I could do. So it came. Yeah, and I have to play queen g3, which I did play, but it loses because he plays here. And I can't continue to defend my queen. So takes. Yeah, and here I actually flagged, which he didn't notice. I actually played this move when my flag was down, but yeah, and at this point I just resigned, but really I was out of time also. So yeah, I got killed this game, but you know, the main part of the game, I played in time pressure. So big time management blunder on my part. Part of it is that, you know, I think I should be on the lookout and on the alert when I'm in an opening I don't know. Because I think my natural tendency is to spend a lot of time and find the best moves. And that is not what I should do. I should develop and castle. That's it. If I'm slightly worse, so be it. Just don't get super behind on the clock, because I do feel that's the main reason that I lost this game. I mean, this position's complicated. I need time on my clock, like for this part of the game, not the opening. Yeah. But that being said, the main highlights are this. Instead of knight c3, I think bishop c4 is better. And then, yeah, the idea that I spent so much time on and realized it didn't work, that was the main thing that took all my time. So h4 is just, you know, if there is no g4, then h4 is ridiculous. I should just go queen e2 and then castle, one way or the other. You know, I can figure that out, but it doesn't need to be something that takes a lot of time. Okay, that's not what actually happened. Yeah, f4 is a mistake because of f3, but who would see that line? That was crazy. Knight e2. I mean, my position's bad. This is where the computer thinks g4 is a good move. And remember, it went into like crazy lines where my king's like naked and afraid on g1. I'm not going to play like that. Not in g30 especially. Yeah, and here I thought I had some chances to, you know, it was possible he could go wrong here, but he really didn't. I don't think there was a moment. Yeah, and I really like rook b8 by him because it provoked b3, and now he's going to come in and win material with this cool idea. So I could not take the knight. Yeah. But again, I think I had like 2 minutes on my clock for the critical moment of the game. So I did lose this one. I'm going to lose some games. I think that's okay as long as I learn from it. And I did learn how to play against the Elephant Gambit. And I did learn to take my time management more seriously. So I am going to do that. I guess I always say that. But I will at some point. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. And I'll be back with the third round game tomorrow. Okay, bye.